Hello, Las Vegas. My name is Mel Tiller. I'd like to welcome you to the show. Always thrilled to be with you. Today's guest is the executive director and co founder of the Fatherhood Network. His name is Anthony Parnell. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Nice to be.
Listen, I've heard some wonderful things about your organization. Tell our listeners exactly what you all do at the Fatherhood Network.
The mission of the Fatherhood Support Network is to help fathers maintain an active role in the lives of their children. So what we do is we've created a 1-day, 8-hour mentorship certification training model where men can go through a training and be available to dads across the country who are feeling stressed and to the point that they're considering possibly walking away from their kids. And then now they have someone they can talk to, not just once, but every day, once a week, if it takes 1 year or 2 years. That is the primary objective, to provide a support system to dads so they don't walk away from their kids.
That's fantastic. So tell me a couple of the main things that people learn when they go through your course.
Wow. A lot of times with men, more emphasis is put on what we can do financially as breadwinners.
Yes.
And if you're, yeah. And if you're not making the money you want to make, if you can't buy the Christmas gifts that you want to buy, that really psychologically affects a lot of dads, especially if that lingers for years and years. So one of the main things we teach them is that their value as a father cannot be measured in dollars and cents. So if they let go of that, that's huge for a lot of dads. Secondly, you've heard it with, the 12-step program, accept the things you cannot control. Judges we can't control, how much they're going to take of child support, even if you've done everything to fight and show your case and all your other expenses. How can you get to a place to accept what is beyond your control and focus on what is within your control? Those are the two primary things.
I like that. How long has your program been in existence?
We've been in existence formally as a 501c3 exempt from the IRS since 2014.
How often do you run your course?
It's based on as many dads are applying. There's an application process you have to go through, a background check. So based on how many are applying at that particular time, we staggered the schedule throughout the year.
So how many, I'm just going to ask you just a little data now. How many people have you helped? How many people have gone through your program?
Oh, wow. Well, there's two sides to that. The one side of the actual people who have been trained, and certified are 24 fathers. Some actually have been women who have gone through our training. The Urban League was one of our initial supporters where they used our case management model to train some of their case managers to use our mentorship model with dads that they were dealing with in the community. We've provided more than 1,400 one-on-one mentoring sessions. So that's 1,400 times that one of our mentors has been talking directly to a dad, whether it's in crisis or continuing to see them week after week for a month or a year or longer.
So let me say, I love what you're doing. I love the emphasis. One of my pet peeves is that individuals from other communities would have you believe that Black fathers don't love their children, Black fathers don't contribute to their families, Black fathers don't care about their communities, Black fathers aren't doing what they should be doing as men. And that narrative, I find, is absolutely wrong, absolutely incorrect, because all of the young men, all of the brothers that I have, all of the guys that I know, all of them love their kids. All of them get up every day, go to work, and do what they can for their family. Now, some people fall on hard times from time to time, yes. But do they care for the family? Do they love their families? Do they do what they can for their families? Do they make contribution to their church and to their communities? Absolutely. And so I greatly appreciate what you're doing and the help you're giving those individuals who want to do more for their families and their communities. How do you see this narrative, this general kind of narrative that is out there and that has been created by others, that Black men are not good fathers?
But that's very, very powerful what you just said. And part of our inspiration and motivation for starting the organization is realizing that when fathers go through tough times, and Black fathers in particular, where are the resources to turn to?
Yes.
Right? If I'm in jail and now I want to be a good dad, there's dozens of resources to turn to. So what I'm saying is that the emphasis is on converting dads who have not been motivated or have not had the good history. That's where the money is. But the dads who've been doing the right thing and they've fallen tough time, there's nowhere for them to turn. So that's what we're doing, is we're filling the gap with that. One of the big things that we do is we came up with this concept called Dad's Night Out, where it's an annual dinner. Yes, it's to raise money, it's a fundraiser, but to put more attention on the dads who are there, we have a program where it's a sit-down dinner with the guest speaker, and we honor at least 3 dads to actually have the ritual that we can tell the story of dads who have been there, particularly those who went through obstacles and didn't walk away from their kids. And the entire audience stands and salutes, and we call them a Best Dad honoree. So that's something that we intentionally are doing to bring positive energy and to put the spotlight on the dads who are doing the right thing, because all the money and spotlight goes on the ones who aren't there.
I love that. How do we get in touch with you?
Oh, well, you got a couple ways. Our website address is fatherhoodsupportnetwork.org. Our number is 702-216-2960.
All right, please repeat that number again.
702-216-2960.
What's the number one challenge you face in your work?
Well, people maybe loosely use the word stigma.
Yes.
We hear it a lot in the mental health field, but there's a stigma still for a dad admitting that he has emotional challenges. I'm stressed.
Yes.
So a lot of times we actually receive a phone call or an email from a female loved one. Mom's making the call, girlfriend, wife is making the call, and then we call the dad and he's tongue-tied.
Yeah.
He's not sure.
We do. Men tend to go into our caves.
Wow.
We just do. Men we tend to go into our caves, and describing our feelings is not necessarily a strong suit of most men.
Yeah, an analogy that I use a lot when I talk to people about the organization is I say, one, have you seen the movie Jungle Fever? You remember the episode or the scene when Wesley got caught having an affair, and he came back home and had no idea that his wife knew, and Spike Lee was standing outside. He said, "You don't want to go up there, they're having a tribunal." And and just that fast, all the women were in the living room. Yeah, they were venting, but what they were doing more than anything is showing unity, solidarity, and support for that woman, to say,
Yes.
"Hey, we got you. Hey,
Yes.
if you need to borrow our car for a week, if you need to stay with us, we're going to come with the U-Haul truck." But then you go to the other side, men go to the bar, let's have a drink. You all right, dog? Pat you on the back, holler at you, catch you later. And then there's no follow-up. You good? So it's
I know what you mean, my brother. I've been through it too. You be all right.
You be all right. Hey, man, that beer should help you get through the next year.
Yeah, let me buy you a double.
Yeah. Yeah. So that psychologically is one, receiving the help, that the help is here. Someone's literally in front of you or on the phone. Would you take advantage of it? And then that we need to actively, among ourselves as men, create tribes, create circles of support across the country, so that when something does happen, the guy, even if you can't see him within that state or an hour drive or something, it's available. So that's what we're trying to do, is build this net across the country. It doesn't just have to be us, but collaborating with churches, collaborating with other organizations, and they can use our mentorship model and just practice the concept.
So did this start here, and how many chapters do you all have around the country?
Well, this is the part where it gets a little more emotional to tell you, did we start here? Yes, we did start here in Vegas. I lived in Los Angeles for 20 years, and one of my best friends was living there, moved to Vegas with his wife and 3 kids, trying to do the right thing. Wife unhappy, rather than just going to the court and filing for divorce. He came home one day to an empty house with a note that just simply said, "We're gone." Did not say what city or anything, just "We're gone." Total house cleaned out. So he frantically wonders, what direction, the 3 kids and all of that. He's, in shock. So it turns out the mom took the kids in the car from Vegas and drove all the way to Chicago, back to a relative's house. So he eventually found it out. So the short part of it is he now had to fly back and forth on the plane to go see his kids. And, we could assume if a man did that, right now, mom's trying to come, it would be no issue to go see the kids. But yet he ran into all kinds of issues, had to call the sheriff just to go to the house to see his kids. And now he's fighting through the court system to try and get access, and then to try and get jurisdiction for trial back here. So basically, I was his mentor without knowing I was his mentor. Don't do anything stupid. Don't wind up going to jail.
Yes.
And that's when it hit us, from going to court at least 7 different times, having a trial back here with the family. The kids had to move back here. The light went off that there's other men trying to do the right thing, but there's nowhere to turn. So that's where the concept came from for us to start the organization. Say, we literally need to use the word mentorship so that fathers have someone that they can talk to and support them. Because this is the thing, once again, just like the funny go have a beer analogy, once you get caught up in the court system, a lot of times it's not resolved right away. They have hearings, appearances, and they could drag on for more than a year. So who's there to support you through that process? Your family members probably get tired of you talking about it. They don't want to keep hearing it, So we, many times, more than a year, while the dad's going through that process, have someone that they can keep talking to and checking up on them.
Hey, I really like that, because we do know as men, we are expected to have a degree of macho in our personalities and so forth. And when we're going through difficult times, we don't necessarily always feel macho, but we certainly don't want to show that side. We don't want to show that vulnerability. And so if you have a tribe that understands that, that is extremely helpful. I love what you're doing. Tell us a success story.
Oh, wow. A success story. Woo. There was a dad in the state of Texas, very similar situation. This time, mom took kids on vacation to another country where her family lived. So innocently, it's a family vacation.
Okay.
She then decides, we're gonna now stay here. Not consult with the dad or anything. We're just gonna stay here. So now you have a double whammy. It can be a challenge to get access, not just to an attorney, but a good attorney, right? You're getting thousands of dollars. A lot of attorneys want $1,000 a day just to sit there, no matter how long court is. But now we have a very unique situation of an international law. So now not just a lawyer, but international. So the situation dragged on. We, for the most part, don't directly refer to lawyers. We have a great paralegal in town, and then because that tends to be less expensive if you need to file paperwork, and then they can refer to an attorney. But we spent extra time trying to make calls and see if we could find some international lawyer or attorney. And fortunately, we were able to find someone. They took the case, and that person was able to get jurisdiction back here in the United States, where they intervened in that other country. And in long story, he wound up getting his kids back. So that process took more than a year. That's very stressful for the dad. So he was appreciative just that he had someone to talk to, because, even the energy, even if we go into our man cave, when we come home, there's an energy that's absent in that house. If your wife, your mother, your kid's not there, and your kid's not there, so you can get depressed just from the absent energy that's in the house. So that was a really, really, really positive story. And we were able to, even like I say, honor him at our Dad's Night Out annual dinner a few years ago. And he did a video clip because he couldn't fly in from out of town. So that's one of our best success stories.
You guys are doing such great work. I certainly appreciate everything that you're doing. Give us that contact information once again, please.
FatherhoodSupportNetwork.org, 702-216 2960.
Give them a call. We all need support. Fathers, the stress of raising children. It is a wonderful thing to raise children. It is a glorious thing to have children and have that responsibilities. But sometimes it does get to be stressful. And this organization is there to help you. You've been listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. Thanks a lot, Anthony. We greatly appreciate you joining the show.
Thank you very much.
And that's Keeping It 100.